Welcome, Sakat. Hope I pronounce it right. So let's see how live we are. And some people tune in to our amazing talk round here today. Just wait, hey, 5 people joining. Amazing. Welcome everyone. We start in just a second. Let me just maybe look up here some more stuff. And as usual, welcome Bryce. Welcome everyone. I hope you enjoy our today's talk round here. How's our camera scenery, by the way? Are we already also better studio setup sometime soon for more awesome views here and less random cluttered desk here at the end of the workday. Maybe we start the recording. So welcome everyone to today's live stream. Another video I actually wanted to make for some time already. Can you earn a living? Can you make money of open source? And as I've done this for 20 years, since I was in school and partially commercial for over 10 years, over a decade, quite some time I guess, I thought I qualified to talk a little bit about this. And I would also be interested in your opinion, so if you have something to share, then just let us know. So the problem, of course, is when you do open source, you want to do some Linux stuff or image processing, audio processing, whatever that might be that you want to do. You eventually need to pay some invoices for electricity, for a rent, and stuff like this. And the problem really is for people to make a living out of this, earn money. And you have seen I've done quite some things over the years. Starting with Rock Linux back in the day, I did their extensive work, became stable release maintainer, did all the desktop stuff and a lot of regression test building stuff. Welcome Devin. And also then we did GSMP, this general sound manipulation program. Back in the day with a friend of mine for studio recording, we produced 1 or 2, actually now that I think we produced 2 CDs of course of our friends, and 1 metal thing and 1, by the way, nice. So we produced 1 metal CD with our friends and family, and 1 actually child church music CD for our local church there, just for fun of it, and then some just testing and recording and stuff. So this was general sound manipulation program. Let's see if we find a screenshot, because our stuff is actually not online. Actually, here are some screenshots thanks to Google. So this is how this looked. Had multi-track report. It looked relatively simple, of course, like Audacity, but it has support for multiple tracks. This is all, this is not ours. So that I renamed this code base still exists. I renamed this to Exact Audio later. Then I did Exact Image, the whole image manipulation stuff, and this still exists as part of our company portfolio theoretically. So Exact Image, similar to ImageMagick, just faster for a lot of things. Of course, ImageMagick can do more, but Exact Image usually is faster and can do some other neat tricks. So quite some stuff done, also a lot of stuff left and right. I did, not all of the stuff I've done is still listed here. I deleted a lot of stuff. For example, small tools left and right. We also maintain an SED, the stream editor, the mini SED from Eric S. Raymond, no less. So I took over his project because he didn't do something for a decade, and I needed a small SED for embedded stuff. And we used embedded tools like BusyBox and stuff, and MPutils from Felix von Leitner, and I prefer diatlibc MPutils a little bit more. This is why historically I did not want to use BusyBox for that, and rather this. So I even, for the fun of it, maintain SED. This should, by the way, is this even here linked somewhere? By the way, here's a little bit more listed. By the way, not to, I already forget, I did over 200 open source scanner drivers for this A-Vision, but also OEM scanners. So I've done this, you see here, since 1997, so long. I do 2 decades of open source, and I earned next to no money, nearly nothing. The biggest, one of the bigger things I earned was for Archivista, some Swiss company for document archiving with the scanning stuff, but I did 200 scanner drivers and then only earned a little bit of consulting and work there some weeks. That was one of the bigger things, and then later the last year's open source virtualization with QEMU KVM. Actually, the funny part, so I've done so much, and then I earned the last years a little bit to speak about open source for some Silicon Valley startup. They are using QEMU KVM, and I maintain from Alexander Graf. He did also QEMU KVM macOS virtualization support glue, and as so often people do it and then they don't maintain it, and I had here some personal use for this for our macOS software, so I started to keep these patches a little bit up to date, rediffed them, rebased them, fixed some bugs and hunted some stuff and such. And so I ended up with this American Silicon Valley company getting paid a little bit consulting work and stuff. This were actually, so these 2 things, Archivista for the scanning stuff, paperless office stuff. By the way, theoretically, this is not a paid advertisement, but .com maybe. Let's see what this gives us, just that you want, if you want to. Okay, fine. You see amazing preparation, everything prepared here and preloaded, as you see. But I hope it's more interesting. So Archivista, some Swiss company, small, medium-sized company there. But the thing is, Archivista, there, by the way, they were Windows, a decade ago, they were Windows-based software. They had some Visual Basic kind of, or I think at least something scanning data, DMS kind of stuff. And so they, over a decade ago, they migrated from Windows to Linux. And of course, they learned a lot from me, and I guess it is fair to say that I teach them a lot. I hope the company founder would agree with my statement here. And the thing is, after some weeks of more work for them, and then over the years a little bit here and there, they learned so much from me that eventually after a year or 2 they didn't need me anymore. They could do the stuff themselves, and so much to the open source business model. You work for some people, and then after a year or 2 they learned so much from you that you are obsolete. So thank you very much for that. But anyway, nice guys, thanks for the business a decade ago. Still call them every now and then and say hello and check with life and stuff. And to give you a little bit more background, I have here some email. I hope I deleted all the private information there. And if not, then please don't spam them there and harass them and something. So with my name all over the internet, obviously, and no Google, but even before this, my name is obviously Linux kernel mailing list, GCC, everywhere else, from Bugzillas to patches to whatsoever. And my name is even in the Google Chrome V8 JavaScript just-in-time compiler. I think I was the first to send a, or at least not sure if I was the first to send a patch quite some years ago, 7 years, or when this was open sourced, but at least my patch was the first who was applied, and so my name was actually not a huge patch, just some small fix. I compiled it, didn't work, I patched there some lines and sent it into Google, so my name was actually the first patch, the first additional contributor. I wonder if my name is still in there as additional contributor to the Chrome JavaScript engine V8. But yeah, just to give you a little bit more background, not that I make all this stuff up here. And also GIMP, you know, 2 decades ago, 20 years ago when we did Linux, I even sent fixes and stuff to GIMP. This is how obviously we choose a GSMP name for general image manipulation to general sound, so you get the idea. So, and due to this, my name all over the internet and stuff, and our open source projects, I get an email, obviously open source related, at least once a week, so 52 weeks a year, so at least 50 emails a year, maybe sometimes more, maybe sometimes 3 times a week or something. You get the idea. On average, I guess it's fair to say at least I get 1 major open source inquiry every week. And most the success rate to make money out of those is nearly 0. And I wanted to show you, so from last week or this week or something, I compiled you 2 emails here. This is real stuff, I didn't make this shit up. Would also take too much time to write all this text here. So this is just copy and pasted from the emails and private data, names and email. I hope I edited out here. And we need to read this here in reverse order because obviously reverse email, copy and paste here of quoting stuff. So someone wrote me an email regarding, so 6th of March, don't make this shit up, this is real. So hi, I'm trying to use HOCR to PDF, which is a part of exact image. So this is some exact image part that is converting HOCR, this is some HTML, OCR, XML kind of description of OCR output, optical character recognition like Tesseract and such. And with the output from Tesseract, but I have a problem with the text layout, does not match the image. I'm unable to get the text on the image aligned correctly when whatever setting I used. I attached a zip file containing a test image, extracted text, HOCR output from Tesseract, a PDF file created with HOCR to PDF. And I'm using Ubuntu and I run it like this. And so what should I do now? So this email already like wastes my time. I sit here, I can do commercial work, I can earn money with commercial work, I can make YouTube videos for entertaining you and having fun and earn $3 of AdSense revenue, which is of course amazing. Thank you all for that. Or I can read this email, which I read this email, it's already time gone of my life. Still nothing earned. So how should I earn money with this? Obviously, in my opinion, the only way to make money out of this is no answer like I did. I answered there, maybe even, what is this here, the same day even. So our amazing support round-trip time, sometimes the same day, sometimes the same night. Usually our customers are happy, unless the customers piss me off, then I don't answer. Then they're not happy, but that is not my challenge. If they already write us shitty emails, then they can also do something else. Anyway, so I responded, thank you for your email. So you see my professional email response. Of course, we can offer you commercial support for your inquiry to take a detailed look on the problem you reported. And this is already, I learned already, when I tell them a price, usually they will never come back. If I write them, hey, we charge you $50 an hour or $20, even if I write, we charge $10 an hour, they don't reply. So I already intentionally leave out the price. I just, not to waste my time and their time, nobody's time, I just reply, hey, thank you for email, I got it. But obviously, if you want our help, we would need to charge something for this because, hey, otherwise, you already use this stuff for free. How should we earn money? Obviously, only charging something, right? So then he responds, this is just for a personal project. If you'll only investigate bugs on a commercial basis, then I'll need to find a different way to achieve what I want. Thanks anyway. So yeah, as usual, even I have not even mentioned the price. Doesn't even matter if it's $10 into the tip jar or if it's $20 or $50 an hour, which probably all of you agree that at least $50 an hour or so at least would probably be the bare minimum. If not, I mean, probably no serious software developer would work for $50 an hour, but whatever. So at least something. So we have not even spoken about the price. So then, of course, with this YouTube channel, usually 2 years ago, I would probably have done nothing. Okay, the next person doesn't want to spend money. Okay, fine enough. But then I thought, okay, well, my new template, then at least I promote my YouTube channel because subscribers and views, right? So no, hey, no, I actually do way too much open source work since 1998, but barely earned any money. And been honest with these people, try to promote also people to pay for open source. This is also why we make this video here. And need to get started here somewhere, right? So this is why I started to reply to each inquiry. So this is also true. So I don't make all this stuff up here. I try to be honest. Also with my business, I usually try to be very honest with our customers in all regards. And so what else should I tell them? Obviously, how should people develop all this stuff? I mean, I already did so much and seriously so much. From T2, exact image, maintaining other stuff, GSMP theoretically, but of course GSMP, the sound program, we did, of course, we did this for our fun. We wanted, and 20 years ago, there was nearly nothing. There was nearly no sound stuff. I mean, some command line stuff, some toys. 20 years ago, our program, GSMP, was one of the maybe two professional or semi-professional audio recording stuff. The only other one was Adur or Ardour or something that still exists. This guy is also doing some commercial subscription stuff with us. I can also give him a shout out to some Dave or something. Let's see, OpenSource Ardour, OpenSource Ardour or something. Also these names, you know, these names you can't barely remember. Also wonder, would usually, yeah, Ardour or whatever. So yeah, of course this looks highly professional. This guy, Dave something, I think it was. Let's see, do we find the name here somewhere? Or Paul something. This is from 20 years ago. So yeah, Paul Davis. Yeah, so I was partially remembering this partially right. So, but what I find not so nice here. Here it starts already. If you download, at least when I tried the last time, he asked you relatively quickly for money. This was a little bit. But there you see. Let's see, what do we get here? So you see, he tries here to push the people to subscribe, single payment, something which is obviously you need to have this presented like this to the people, otherwise you never collect any money. Totally understand why he's doing this. And he continued, he's probably making a full-time living out of this, but for us, I also did Linux development. I wanted to do Spark, PowerPC, low-level kernel stuff. That obviously was my priority a decade ago. And yeah, Sarkas there in the chat agrees that $50 per hour, 5 to $10 per answer. And I quote this here because this is just the recent stuff, and you see I get here really once a week at least, maybe sometimes even each day. But then sometimes, of course, for a whole month, not much, but so anyway. And thanks for agreeing with me. And I wanted to bring this to broader attention. And this is also the goal of my channel, obviously, as you probably have here an understanding with my various stuff, displays here and there, camera here and there, and just, I need a lens, I buy it, I need a camera, I buy it. Obviously, I can only finance this because I have the backing of my Exacode company here, and we sell Mac and Windows software every other day. And otherwise, I would not have the spare money for some professional studio gear. And yeah, anyway. And also, I mentioned this already, fun fact, the last year I earned more with YouTube AdSense, which I showed already in other live streams here. I don't fake this, I showed this previously. Right now, $6 a day on average for the last of course, a super small channel, but did I say 6? I meant $3 a day. $600 something a year, which is already more than I think I probably made with all of the open source stuff. The last year was probably less than $600. And so YouTube AdSense revenue brings us here more open source development income than direct open source financing project stuff. And this is seriously true, as sad as it is. And also, over a decade ago, I then started to write magazine articles. So you even find from me from 15 years ago magazine articles, because simply I had no other means. I was a student. I wanted to earn money with open source. What should I do? Nobody wanted to, few people wanted to really pay me. And the other only option is you go to Google or Google, Microsoft, Apple, and do their open source stuff, or IBM or Tesla, SpaceX, Volkswagen, BMW, Mercedes, not a paid advertisement, just calling you some names. You go for Google, Amazon, IBM, and work there on open source. But then this job is not different than other commercial job. It doesn't really matter then if you work and you don't have a choice. Maybe you sit at IBM or Google and work on open source, maybe you don't. Probably, of course, at Google, even with their 20% projects, you need to do what the manager tells you. If the manager tells you optimize our search engine, optimize our database, or write a new database, write a new operating system, you do this. You do not argue with your manager, but hey, I'm employed here to do open source work, or it's of course not happening. if someone like Chris Lattner from LLVM is employed at Google, he maybe famous people like he can negotiate a little bit to do, but I think he's not even continuing with LLVM, probably, as far as I've seen, I guess, but could be wrong. So yeah, my magazine articles. So this was Linux magazine. This was mostly the German Linux magazine article, and you see I don't make this stuff up. Even when you Google this, you find here something. Inet Systems, GNU compiler benchmark, you see this is 2008, yeah, a decade ago, just as I remembered. Small optimized C libraries, cross-compiling embedded systems. That was probably shameless self-promotion plug for T2. And stuff like this, various things here. You see O-Profile, Xorg, ALSA, and audio server, Intel, C compiler, you name it. So, and this was then the only way I could earn really reasonable money as a student, was writing magazine articles. And in my opinion, this can also not be that you write your full-time open source and then in the night or weekend you write magazine articles. Another website was this German Golem. I have, you see here, 2429 Linux kernel, and other here also something with macOS virtualization, XGL. You see a couple of articles from here, 2005, mostly here, I guess. And yeah, so just some proofs that I'm not making here some random nonsense up. This is a pure truth, pure true facts that you can research and verify yourself if you wanted to. And yeah, so some honest reply here. And what was there? So I understand you. Then he replied, "I understand your problem. I only know 2 ways of making money from open source." Just let's check here our drop frame 0, amazing. Also camera, we're probably mostly matching. So distribute physical media, tapes, CD-ROM, DVD. Tapes, amazing idea, and optical and CDs also containing a software paid for consultancy or support. Yeah, guess what I tried to sell you, but thanks for the fish. So Fast Internet has pretty much finished option 1, and as you found, option 2 doesn't pay very well, except maybe a few things like kernel development, and there I have to see no. Also kernel development, very rarely have people paid me for kernel development, and by the way, amazing, many people watching, really appreciate it. And also kernel development, sometimes yes, sometimes people paid me for this, but even then this is usually very time consuming, and most people, you can hardly quote an amount of hours or time, because you don't even know how many hours, weeks or months you spend tracking down there an issue. If you even writing a device driver, you can be lucky and stuff just works. You have seen my vintage ISA work, or you can be unlucky and you think you set there some registers and you get some linear frame buffer and you don't. And or even the 8-channel ADAT stuff, there's a Linux kernel driver, doesn't work. I spent in the meantime a good probably 2 afternoons on this PCI ADAT card that has a Linux driver, just doesn't work for me. Or even the Realtek, you've seen the Realtek headphone. I made 2 videos about this, and 2 afternoons. And who should pay me to fix headphone output in the Linux kernel for some ALSA driver, for some, okay, Dell could pay me, Lenovo could pay me, but who should I, and I know this from my commercial work, and I probably can make a better video, instead of one super long video, I probably better make another video about this. And should I try to write emails and a telephone call to Dell and Lenovo and try to convince some managers to shed out some $100 or $1,000 for some improvements of open source Linux kernel drivers to have their headphone frequency output fixed? I could also try to make some deal with SUSE and Red Hat. I know some people who work for SUSE here in Germany, for example, and stuff. But this is highly, you know, instead of you can focus on your work, you spend then most of the time hunting people to try to donate or pay you some money. And of course nowadays, this is why I also registered here at this Patreon. Of course I'm super late to this party, and thank you very much for the 25 Patreons who support me here monthly for PS3, T2 or vintage video, vintage source code and stuff like this. Very much appreciated. Of course I'm a little bit late to this party, I only started this last year. But the reason I started Patreon and YouTube, of course, is also I want to do more open source work again. because maybe commercial work is not also always fulfilling. You know, I also need to literally do some stuff. For example, we ported our software to Windows. Did I wanted to do this? No. Of course, I and my friends there in Germany, not in Berlin, somewhere else, where we grew up, we got into Linux because we hated Windows. We grew up with DOS, and DOS was okay-ish, we knew nothing else, but then came Windows, and Windows was completely unstable. Even for us 12-year-old, we were shaking our head how unstable this piece of shit was. It was complete garbage. It was completely incomprehensive to us how a huge American corporation could sell an expensive operating system that was mostly crashing. There in Windows 95, 3D drivers were new. We wanted to write some CD drivers with Direct 3D, the first versions, whatever that was in 1995 or 6 or something. And this, you did some API calls to Direct 3D to draw some colorful rectangle, and stuff was crashing. You pressed the reset button. There was not Google, probably this was maybe a year before Google was founded. We did not have really internet anyway. You know, the time of modems, this analog beeping stuff. But anyway, so we literally went to Linux because we could not see this Windows anymore. It wasn't working, it was unstable, it was not a joy. We found Linux, it was amazing. And then we obviously want to continue working with this. So we poured our Windows in 2000, the last years. It was already 2-3 year project here, some 20% project at Exacode, porting our amazing software to amazing, not Windows. And so is it fun to port our software to Windows? No. Okay, the fun part is we created our own UI system that I showed a little bit because obviously we did not want to use Win32 GDI stuff and Windows buttons and forms and whatnot, because we wanted it portable and use the same code base for Linux. That part was fun. The rest of this, but some stuff I spent weeks debugging on Windows. I still did not get some stuff working. For example, some internationalization stuff for this on-screen for Chinese characters input. I debugged for a whole week. I debugged the details to get this Chinese and Japanese and stuff. This Windows native character picker input stuff for this input system stuff. I spent a whole week. I couldn't get it to work. It's for example, this Chinese, instead of it's a text editor, text cursor position, if it's appearing on screen, it's appearing at coordinate 00. No idea why it's doing that. Complete pain in the ass. And but I digress. And there you see, I hope you find this interesting, and share, like, and subscribe for all this interesting talk here of our 20 years of, at least more professional, not counting our time as school people, stuff, as youngsters, as boys and girls growing up and teaching ourselves DOS stuff. So 20 years of more professional stuff and some IT stories. So yeah, coming back to this email. But so my point was here, the only reasonable working thing is of course Patreon and stuff like this, crowdfunding stuff. Otherwise, you see, you write people, hey, I can look into your problem. You have a very specifically detailed problem. Of course, I can look into this, but I cannot look into each and everyone's problem for free. And then I sit here the whole month. Each day I look into T2 problems, exact image problems, and by the way, might not be even our problem. By the way, I know what the problem is. The problem is that this HORCR was not even developed for Tesseract. It was developed for mostly Cuneiform back in the day, and I think it was even working. I think back in the day this HOCR output was the same, was compatible between Cuneiform and Tesseract, and I think the Cuneiform maintainer developed this HOCR output, again some HTML OCR output, to be compatible and the same with Tesseract. Just I think, as far as I remember, the Tesseract people have changed it, because when the usual, what I also say, never change a running system. Of course, they had to change it, the Tesseract, the Google people or whoever that is there. So I think they broke it because they had to change it, because they had to make it better. So now it's different. And I cannot sit here and adapt. And also, I mean, theoretically, we have our own OCR, right? So if I make this better without someone paying me, we might even sell less, because instead of people buying our OCR software, they use my open source stuff. And why should I make this even better for free when it even cuts into our sales? So coming back to this email, before documentation is in, and however, I will make the comment that if somebody provides a well-documented bug report, that is reasonable to expect you to do an initial investigation before. I have to disagree. If someone provides me with a detailed bug report, I already provided you the software for free. It is not my responsibility to even look into some what does he write, some reasonable to expect you to do an initial investigation. No, I already gave you the shit for free, on top of supplying you with a decade. And by the way, when I was a student, I was working on T2 or Rock Linux literally day and night. I told you already, I had the Rock Linux builds running with beeping on error, and I was getting up at night at 2, at 3, whenever this build broke, because I had to get this Rock Linux builds done on 600 megahertz machines or 270 megahertz Spark systems. And to get this done in a week's time, I had to get up at night and continue fix the build error and get to sleep again. So much to literally working day and night on this when I was a student and trying to pass exams. So I have no obligation whatsoever to even look onto your bug report for free when you already use my software for free. And before asking for commercial terms, and hey, hello, I think my email was super nice, and I was only wanted to check and probe if you would be willing to shed some. And by the way, once a decade ago, someone from this Industrial Light and Magic there from this Lucas Arts also connected us for exact image movie rendering work. But after 2 emails, I also never heard back from them. So much more. Thanks for that. Thanks to that fish. But would have been nice to work with Industrial Light and Magic for some movie rendering stuff. Anyways, the project. Before I retired, I used to be software project manager for some guy XXX commented. I deleted this here. As well as the project work we wrote and sold some paid for software, but also supplied a free feature limited version. If anybody mailed a bug report for the free version, then we would investigate and reply, either acknowledge the bug or suggest a different approach, and wanted them to have to buy the full fully supported version. So I have to say something to this also. This approach does not work. I even tried this, and this is, by the way, you want to share, like, and subscribe and watch hopefully our amazing IT commentary here. So we have from ExactScan. ExactScan is this amazing scanner software. By the way, this is not a paid advertisement, but shameless plugs. This software is of course for us, so maybe it's a non-paid advertisement for our software, who knows. So we have the software ExactScan OCR kit, scanning software, OCR software. And the scan software, we have ExactScan and ExactScan Pro. ExactScan is the minimal version for $79 or euro, with or without VAT, depending on US dollar. Anyway, you get the idea. It's plus minus the same. We try to keep things simple. ExactScan Pro with OCR and barcode recognition and other fun stuff, $99 or euro. Again, I think quite reasonable, not too much. So for ExactScan, we have a light version. This light version is only available for scanner manufacturers. Like other software also is usually putting some software into the boxes. So we negotiated for many years. For 10 years, we tried to speak with scanner software vendors to put our software into scanner boxes. You buy a scanner from Amazon or wherever, and from all the major companies. And for macOS, there could be our software in the box. And over a decade, we managed 3 deals like this, or from the top of my head, maybe 3 plus minus, or maybe 5, doesn't matter. What do we earn? The problem is the software, the hardware vendors never want to pay for this. So if you bundle software like this, you nearly never get paid. And we were lucky. Sometimes we managed to negotiate a couple of dollars when we were lucky. Just to disclose this here fully. So this is a light version. The users get it for free in the scanner box, like from Kodak or Xerox or something, just to throw in here some names that might or might not be accurate, might also be some others. So we earn nearly nothing. We may earn nothing, or $1 or 3 or 5, depending on how lucky we were with the negotiations. From this bundled software, this light version, we intentionally made this light version so that you can barely scan. And of course, this pisses people off. If I buy a scanner and there's a Mac software and it barely scans, I would also be pissed. But we made this Exact Scan Lite super simple. It can barely scan, only to PDF and JPEG or something. Very, very simple. You can scan, but not very comfortably and not with many features. How many people do you think upgrade? And of course, the people can upgrade at a reduced price to our Exact Scan and Exact Scan Pro. How do you think the percentage is of people upgrading to our software? It is less than 10%, maybe even less than 5%. And there you see with this point. So we get nearly nothing. We get plenty of support inquiries for this light software. Hey, I packed out the scanner with this box, it doesn't work. So we have support. We need to support people for free or for a couple of dollars. We mostly make a loss, like nearly with all the support. We effectively make a loss. And nearly nobody, less than 10, maybe less than 5%, upgrade to the more feature-rich software. And this is for a commercial software here, not some free stuff. So much to some free version. No, nearly nobody from our own experience, and probably most of you would agree to this, nearly nobody will pay for a better version when the free version is for free. And they will rather spend some efforts to write some script or some post-processing. For example, if they need another file format, they rather make an internet search and find ImageMagick, and they combine Exact Scan Lite with ImageMagick to convert, because we intentionally only allow PDF and JPEG or something. If they need a TIFF or something else, they rather use an open source tool, of course, for free, than spending any extra dollar whatsoever on support or upgrades. This is extremely, and by the way, we have even people after just, and this is also, I will probably make a dedicated video about this another week. We have people after 7 years, they paid us nothing, they have Exact Scan Lite, they got it with a scanner for free, we maybe got nothing or a couple of dollars, and after 7 years, they write us an email and want support. It doesn't scan anymore on the latest version on macOS. And when we write to them, hello, unfortunately this version is super old, you know, from 7 years. It was for macOS 10.6 from 7 years ago or something like this. But we have this amazing upgrade here. And even after 7 years, you can use this nearly half-priced upgrade for example, Exact Scan. This is only $39 or €39, I think, the upgrade. How many people do you think after 7 years it's not working anymore because latest version of macOS changed some stuff? Even then, after 7 years, people rather buy a new scanner than upgrading for $39. The people are pissed, they are unsatisfied, and instead of paying a software company $39, they rather go to Amazon and buy a new scanner. This is really sad. And so yeah, so this is what the people expect. The people expect for open source versions that to make a reasonable effort to look and make an initial investigation of some bug inquiry on top of paying nothing for an open source version. And so what else was here? Acknowledge, suggestion, different approach. If you wanted more than they would buy fully supported. By the way, hello, this was screensaver. So I know it's open source code and I could fix the problem myself, and by the way, he writes, and I could fix the problem myself. Yes, why do you not make a reasonable effort to investigate this bug and send me a patch? Would that not be an amazing contribution and paying back in terms of your time looking into this bug and coming up with a patch for the solution and contributing to the open source ecosystem as a whole? Maybe, just a thought. We have a comment in the audience. I watched your videos because I like your content and want to support you, but I do not want to use PayPal. Can I put the notion? There is a donation button, but it's going to PayPal actually. So on T2 there is a link to Patreon and PayPal, but you don't want to use PayPal, right? Do not want to use PayPal. How else do you want to donate them? But it's already, Sakat, very much appreciated. It's already enough that you watch the videos and maybe sometimes accidentally clicks on some advertisement. Already much appreciated. And of course, I'm in the lucky situation that we sell enough commercial software that I can sit here sometimes in the week and make, you know, some YouTube content. And of course, my intention is to be an influencer in a good way to influence the world to a better state, because obviously, and this is my point of this video, is the open source community or is the open source ecosystem as this as a whole is not sustainable in the way we set it up so far right now. And of course, some people, of course there are many open source people, but even Linus Torvalds, so Linus Torvalds is paid by the Linux Foundation. By the way, I always wonder, I think, how do we say Linux? I think most English people also say Linux. And the funny thing is, what also irritates me a little bit, as far as I saw once, the managers in the Linux Foundation are being paid more than Linus Torvalds. Why do managers who contribute nothing and only move paper, and by the way, I do not want to say that managers do nothing, but maybe not as much as Linus Torvalds. I meant to say they do nothing but moving paper around. So why do the managers of the Linux Foundation not get a reasonable salary like some normal secretary? Why do managers need to get an top of the line, over the board CEO, like an American CEO like salary of, I think, can we Google this, Linux Foundation manager salary? I think it was, I think I read the salary was something in the ballpark of $300,000 or something, but I could be wrong. At least that is what I heard, was maybe 300,000 or 400,000. Here's, by the way, is this public here? I don't know, but I could be wrong, just whatever. And Linux Foundation salary, whatever. So yeah, so they, from this donations and membership stuff of IBM and Google and whatnot, they pay Linus Torvalds some 200,000 or something, maybe plus minus. At least that's what I heard or read somewhere. And but yeah, 200,000 something. So Linus Torvalds gets some 200,000, maybe plus minus. Takes us with a grain of salt. Could be right, could be wrong. What do I know? But I heard that managers, the managers of this get more than Linus Torvalds, which I find a scandal. I have no problem. Linus Torvalds of course should earn 200,000 or 300,000. Of course, I'm fully supporting this. But I really wonder if managers there really need for managing some paper and accounts and such. Is there some more reasonable salaries and less than this? But anyway, if they have this money, fine with me, then give them all this money. But maybe it would be better if the Linux Foundation pays off some normal contributors, like people like me, maybe not me, maybe others. You get the idea. If there would be some Linux Foundation, Linux kernel developer general contribution stuff, like everyone sending a patch gets there some percentage or something, would this not be fair? More fair to the community than paying some managers $300,000, maybe, at least my opinion, whatever. But there you see, you need this kind of foundation thing, and then do all the Linux kernel contributors get something from this? No, only some handful of major people in the Linux kernel community, and not everyone else here from Gentoo, Debian and whatnot. They have their own foundation, donation stuff and stuff. So next email I wanted to quote here, and this is from, I think, Singapore there, Yahoo.com Singapore. Of course, the name already deleted. Funny enough, also for HOCR to PDF, you see my OCR PDF stuff is more of the interesting stuff. This is, I think, the most inquiries I actually get for exact image. The second most maybe for the open source Sane scanner drivers that I don't maintain really anymore, because I already do our commercial stuff. And this is also the funny stuff. So we have a scan software, of course, we developed from these ideas that I developed in this Sane drivers. Of course, we have rewritten everything from scratch and more amazing. And of course, our exact scan is with UI and everything, all the image, because the Sane scanner drivers, they don't include any image processing. Of course, our commercial exact scan includes autocrop, deskew, intelligent black and white thresholding, and the Pro version includes OCR, barcode recognition, and other automatic color detection and whatnot, and all the fancy stuff there. Yeah, so I get inquiries for this Linux scanner drivers, people trying to use this on macOS. So if I would make this open source scanner drivers that I've written, I spent months, maybe in total I spent a whole year of, because this, you need to understand, this supports over 200 scanners. Sane, Avision, I'm not joking, I'm not making this up. Here's Sane Avision there, and I hope my name, sometimes the funny thing is sometimes some students took it over. Yeah, here you see René Reben, Meino, Christian Kramer. But once some student or so came and edited my name out of this, and then I ignored this, so once some student came there from somewhere, America, doesn't matter, from somewhere, and he edited my open source driver. Of course, he can do whatever. I did not really maintain this because it would hurt our commercial sales if I would make this better. And he edited my name out of there. He put there his name in, and then he fixed only stuff for. Yeah, thanks for notifying me. This was OBS crashing. I guess the stream was, probably I should look into the backtrace there. Our stream resumed. The stream is continuing. Let's hope Google is stitching it together. That would be amazing from YouTube. Thanks for notifying me early. So this driver, I think this old open source driver supports around 200 scanners. Also need to check that we are really resuming. Whatever, so not making this stuff up, you can look this all up. And so of course you can compile this open source stuff for macOS. Welcome Gregor in the audience. So you can compile my Linux open source stuff for macOS, and then I get inquiries, it doesn't work with my scanner, it doesn't work on macOS. So if I help those people who are not paying, usually they are not willing to pay money, these are home users, and if I write them, hey, I can look into your problem, but do you want to pay 10 or 20? You know, in the meantime, I'm not even expecting them to pay $50. If I write a home user who wants to use the scanners on macOS, if I write them, hey, do you want to donate 10 or $20? They already never reply anymore. And so just that you get some idea. And welcome to Tuxutku and everyone in the audience. So, and this email where was this? Yeah, here's the next from, and by the way, Singapore, Yahoo.com SG, Singapore. I came across your website here, exec code, open source, exec image, while looking for a program to process HOCR files. Yeah, no kidding. Just what I expect to read every other week. Is it possible to please request for the HOCR to PDF? This is a program, this is a command line program to convert this HTML OCR output to a PDF, to sandwich this together, layered into a PDF, which of course our commercial software is also doing. Just, by the way, our commercial software is all the stuff rewritten even more amazing, because this will, anyway. And as an exe, so that it runs on Windows, I'm not familiar with Linux and how to compile it. Thank you very much. So this is another example, another common example, and this is an even more amazing example because he or they are running on Windows, and you would expect this other was Linux, and usually this is Linux, macOS of course also being commercial. So this is Windows, this is commercial binary only Windows, and he wants this open source stuff for Windows. And hi, as usual, my usual reply here. Hi, we could, oh, did I misspell this? Only recodes with real misspelling, so this comes from quickly for free answering with typos. Well, we could probably provide a pre-built binary for Windows. Would you like to pay for our hour or two working on that? I mean, reasonably, if I start some Windows VM and poke this into Visual Studio or GCC, or realistically, if I would do this from scratch, I would sit there more than 1 or 2 hours just to get this stuff working on Windows, obviously, and especially if I not only compile it but also test it. Realistically, and so if I would be new to Windows, I would sit there more than an afternoon on this. But of course, in the meantime, I have some experience with Windows, so realistically, I would probably spend at least an hour or two on compiling, testing this, at least a little bit, and sending it to him. And they already really respond here. Hi René, I appreciate the fast reply. Yes, thanks, amazing, our amazing fast commercial support reply here. So That is what you usually can expect from Exact support replies here, not like on Vodafone where you want to enable your bridge mode and you can't reach someone on calling anyway. So at Exact you even get here answers from professional people who know what they are doing. May I know how much does it cost? Do you accept payment via PayPal? Thank you. And what did I reply there? I replied there, I think €100 would be fair, because I thought €100 I think would be plus minus more or less a little bit reasonable, right? And I also don't know what is this a professional company, you know, $100 for a company would be nothing. If they use this commercially for, I don't know what they do with this, maybe use this for a server system and they OCR 100,000 files with this for a government or a big company, who knows? And then can they not pay $100 or €100 for my work? I have no idea. And especially, you know, this is Windows, at least an hour or two, you know, a little bit. I mean, €100 is still for 1 or 2 hours. It's, you know, normal. It's even, in my opinion, below average market hourly rate thing there. You know, because, you know, this is with Windows. I tried, okay, €100. Let's see what happens. You know, my experiments after 2 decades experiments trying to make people pay for open source, especially for Windows. I would even, you know, €100, to be fair, for 1 or 2 hours. I would even throw in testing and likely adapting it, because I was sure they would most likely use this with Tesseract, which I already knew from the other email and experience. I knew Tesseract will not work. So I'm super fair, not even, I think, in my opinion, €100 would be little, I think, in my opinion. And I'm even so super fair to write, hey, I even throw in likely adapting it for Tesseract compatibility, which I, from the other email and from the past year's emails and my experience anyway, know it will not work with Tesseract. So they get Tesseract for free on top of this €100. I guess you want to use it with Tesseract, right? Which languages? So, and then the reply, of course, hi René, thank you for your reply. However, I'm sorry for the trouble. I will not be taking up the offer. What a surprise. What a surprise. Did I not expect this after 20 years on open source? I will not be taking, by the way, I hope I don't have any names in there. I think taking up the offer, as it is beyond what I can afford at this time. This is also why I googled SG. I wanted to know if this is China or whatever. Didn't remember SG Singapore. I thought in Singapore is also relatively first world country, or so to say, with high salaries and such, I think. And afford at this time, I will look for alternatives. Thank you again. Have a great day. So I was only wanted to share. So again, this is not publicly shaming those people. I hope I deleted all the personal information. And this is just this last week's or something, this last 7 days or so of examples to share here. This kind of discussions I want to influence here on my YouTube channel to spread awareness and help contributing to a better, well-balanced society. And of course, if you ask other professionals to come to service your toilet, call a plumber, electrician, your doorbell is not working, your garage door opener is not working, what do you get for $100? You get nothing for $100. For $100, no plumber will come and fix your toilet, or no electrician will come to fix your doorbell or your garage opener, at least in my opinion. And at least not in first world countries. In Russia or Brazil it might be cheaper. And even in Russia I have also experienced, someone recently asked me in Russia, I was in Moscow the other month, as you might have followed up. And by the way, Russia is not so cheap, at least not for software developers, maybe, I don't know, maybe plus minus half of the price, maybe, at least from the back of my mind, maybe. So, I mean, not completely low prices. And someone moved into a new apartment. I knew there, some of us we know there in Russia, Moscow, moved into a new apartment complex, and some of his lights were flickering. So I was in Moscow and says, René, do you know, René, I saw your YouTube soldering there. Would you maybe, could I ask you a favor? Could you take a quick look on my electricity? It's somehow strange in my apartment, completely newly built apartment in Moscow city. And so I took this face testing thing someone had there, So I took a phase tester there, the screwdriver with a phase detection light bulb thing there. I said, yeah, okay, fine. Let's take a look. Let's have some fun in Russia. Always some new experiences. I'm open to all kind of funs. In retrospect, I only regret that I did not make a YouTube video. The next time someone in Russia or Spain or France or someone, the next time someone asks me, hey René, I saw you're so fluid with electricity, with electrons and stuff, and can you take a look? The next time I take my camera and make a YouTube video, because this would have been an amazing fun video showing you the electricity wiring in a new building in Moscow, because lo and behold, in the light switch, it started already in the light switch, the earth, the ground was cut. So this light switches that were flickering did not even have ground, the earth, for safety reasons wired. But this is then, the wires looked a little bit thin in the light switch in the wall. So I opened in this switchboard thing there, I opened the plastic cover and I was shocked. In my whole life have I not seen such an unprofessional electricity switchboard thing. I think I have a photo, but I probably better don't show it to you. And so all the wires were too thin. My father is a professional electrician. I grew up with all this soldering stuff. I also helped my parents build a house, so we did the electricity ourselves. Not only do I know soldering and electrons on PC boards, I also know how to do electricity professionally. And so all these wires were, on the first glance, they were too thin. They had their, to tell you precisely, these were 1.5 square millimeter cables. Of course, in the rest of the world we use amazing units like metric units, you know, like millimeter and such. So these were 1.5 square millimeter wires with 20 amp fuses, 20 ampere. You, at least according, and later I learned also to Russian standards, that is not allowed to Russian standards. And at least in German and Spain and French standard, that is not allowed. In Germany, from the top of my head, the maximum you are allowed to use fuses on 1.5 square millimeter wires is 16 amps, I guess. But that is probably even the old standard. I think the new standard might be 10 amps, but this is from the top of my head. And also these were slow fuses, you know, like 20 MC, not they're like ABC. This is this additional letter specifies the response time, the quickness of this fuses to disengage. So A are quick, B are slower, and C are even slower. So not only overly high fuses, but even then not only normal like B fuses, but the slowest C fuses, so that when your hot water pot has a shortage, then to make really sure that all your wires in the wall catch fire and start burning. And then there were also other stuff. And by the way, that was really funny. They had this European fuses, the same that we use in Germany and France and Spain and such. And they use their complete, you know, normally if you do this professionally, you put there one line of one phase line. They are pre-made phase lines for this. This Phasen-Schiene, I think. Let's Google this, what we are. So this is not a paid advertisement for this German stuff here, just from the top of the internet search here. So normally if you want to make this nice on your switchboard, you would distribute the phase and neutral and such with this ready-made phase lines there, or whatever that is in English. And did they use this? No, of course you do not. I don't know, by German regulations, not sure if you have to use this, but of course it's nice. And did they use this in Moscow in this new apartment? No, they made there with 1.5 square millimeter. They made there their own bridges, one to another, with 1.5 square millimeter. And then on top of this, they topped this with a topping of not even using the same color. They used their random colors. Just, I mean, not the color doesn't matter. Of course, the electrons don't care if the electrons are flowing through a yellow or blue wire, but it is telling what kind of professional quality they were installing this with. If they used their blue, red, green, white, yellow, like, why? I mean, obviously that 1.5 square millimeter distributing your phase over the fuses is too little, and they will start to catch fire as soon as you put too much load on a couple of power outlets there. Just to give you some overview, and also that I'm not pulling here random bullshit out of my head, but know a little bit of what I'm talking about. And just to give there, yeah, and if you don't pay professionals some good salary, yes, then they install your 1.5 square millimeter wire with 20 amp fuses. They cut the earth in the light switch. They cut the earth, and by who would I have completely no idea who would cut the ground wire in the switch hole there in the wall. Who would cut this? I mean, you need, instead of, you can't even fix it now. You need to pull out the wire out of the wall, if it's even possible, just because they cut this. Who? I mean, if you don't connect this, you just leave it in there, not connected. But they cut it just at the border of the wall. I have completely no idea how you get to such an idea. And this is also why we make these videos, educational content. If you install your electricity, maybe ask a professional. And if you think you know how about to do it, maybe Google it first and use professional stuff like this, phase distribution lines and matching to your local regulations, sized fuses and stuff like this. And better pay professionals to know what you're doing and pay them maybe more than $5 an hour, because otherwise you get stuff like this. Singapore is an expensive place, so they have money and good salaries. Reading our comments in the audience. Yeah, that is Russia. You have to be careful over there. I know their electricity is horrible. And the funny thing is, so then in this building there was like a local housekeeping guy who also was supposed to know how to service electricity in case of something. They called them and he came there, looked into this mess and said, no, but this is looking fine. No, everything is okay. I mean, with the light flickering in the background. By the way, I think the flickering light was most likely some screw on one of those fuses, not probably fully fastened. But as I've seen this unprofessional installed chaos, I said already, you know what, it's a little bit hopeless there. I think this needs to be a little bit done, redone more professionally, that the stuff is not burning another week or year when you use an iron and a hot water pot at the same time and stuff. And yeah, with your flickering light, unfortunately your flickering light in the kitchen is your smallest problem. And I did not bother to hunt where this flickering light is coming from, because all the rest was too unprofessional to diagnose further. But just as a random example, and also I wanted, now the stream is of course already getting super long, but whatever. I had one other fun example another month, and this I got, I need to check what, have I again shown my iPhone pin? May not, probably not. So I'm also on Instagram, and you can follow also on Instagram. I think it's linked in the, where is even in Instagram the direct messages. So through Instagram, of all means, I mean, I'm Instagram, by the way, you don't really need to follow me there, just some random nonsense. But if you are deeply interested where I might fly to or sit somewhere, then you can follow me there. Not that it is highly necessary, but whatever. So on Instagram, of all means, someone contacted me the other month. Let me just, where was this? Here, this was this. The problem is to not show personal data. So I think like this, I'm not showing any personal data, so I'm not making this shit up as you, by the way, what is the, it's probably, but I guess you could find him by name on Instagram if you wanted to. So not making this shit up. So much Instagram direct messages going on, and you will not believe about what this was from Croatia, I think, from memory. I just put this away, not to, or maybe I open a photo. And so some guy from Croatia, some doctor, messaged me on Instagram by all means and asked me, he has seen my Ultraspark videos on YouTube, and he brought a used X-ray machine in Germany. Some General Electric company X-ray machine from the University Munich, I think. Hope I don't disclose here too much personal details, but not. First of all, he bombarded me on Instagram with private messages, and second of all, he didn't pay me anything. So you see here, this is, let me check, this is probably no, oh wait, it's not showing any personal information. So here, not making this stuff up. If you want to know where if you ever wanted to know where UltraSpark systems are still used, then it's in X-ray machines of General Electrics, and this is why you want to share, like, and subscribe, not to miss any of this amazing IT stuff and inside talk. So this gentleman there from Croatia wanted support to install the X-ray machine because they couldn't. They reassembled it, so they picked it up in Munich, they drove it also to Croatia, and then they reassembled it. By the way, here's a photo of this X-ray thing. So this, mind you, this is all stuff I got from Instagram. And if you watch my YouTube videos and recognize your X-ray machines, then yes, it is you who bombarded me. So actually responded to me. So I found this stuff interesting. So I thought, okay, fine, someone is finally still using UltraSpark, amazing. And I only replied that because this is really a lot of stuff. You see, this was so much personal information. Hope it was not visible. So this was that much stuff. It's like really many messages, like really, damn it. Anyway, if this was personal information, then it's also your fault to bombard me with this stuff. Are we even still rolling, or are we again? And so he wanted software, so he wanted support installing this with, he thought, I know how to work on UltraSpark machines, then I can also get his X-ray machine to work there. And of course, I only responded there so much because I found this use of Spark interesting. And he said, yeah, no, come over, no, I need it urgently, I can fly you in next week. And I don't know if he thinks I'm a poor student or something, and I come there for free, because after all these messages I said, yeah, but you know, if I fly then you... First of all, the problem is I'm overworked. Like, I mean, even if I make YouTube videos at 2100 here, I'm a little bit overworked, to be honest. But nonetheless, we want to grow our YouTube channel and influence and educate here and stuff. And this is why after work and stuff, I do here my amazing YouTube entertainment. But then after these messages I wrote, yeah, by the way, but first of all, I have no time. I'm overworked, I'm busy and such, not really time to fly to Croatia and install your X-ray machine. But then I said, but this was honest, I seriously have completely no time to fly to Croatia. And first of all, then I'm also a little bit suspicious if everything is legal, and if for example, if they really don't have someone, maybe they didn't pay the professional to reassemble it, and then this professional who reassembled it said, you know what, have a good day, if you don't pay me properly, then I don't finish the installation here or something. And then I don't want to be the guy who finishes some half installation. By the way, I don't have X-ray setup experience. I never in my life have installed some X-ray stuff, although he said it's only some getting Sun OS or something, Solaris, working on this UltraSpark 10 or what this was. And yes, he really liked it. Maybe I can open this text. I only need to be, don't want to share this personal information. And you know, I'm a little bit lazy. I don't want to make words. And then I thought, I at least can, because he said, okay, maybe he's really unlucky. Maybe it is somehow so. At least I can give him email support. And I wrote him, okay, I can really not come now, but at least I can maybe answer some emails, and said, okay, if for email support to help you, you send some screenshots of what the Solaris stuff installation is showing, what error is there, and then I can help you by email to find through the installation stuff. And I said, yeah, maybe, and even there I was so fair to write, I wrote, we can even not bill an hour for each email. I even wrote, you know, we can bill here some 100 euro per hour, which I found was reasonable for an X-ray machine, and probably even below market rate as usual, because I'm already have this experience, and I'm used that people don't pay for open source and stuff and support. So my rates, if for this kind of fun stuff, I already offer low rates, and then I even was so super fair to write 100 euro, and we can be so fair to only charge because some companies I know, all this fancy, you know, all this Fortune 500 companies, they charge per started hour or started half an hour or something, and then you pay, they answer for 20 minutes and you already pay a full hour, always minimum. And I wrote, we can, of course, we are of course so fair to charge accumulated, like we answered 10 emails and that in total was an hour, we charge €100, you know, as super fair and friendly as we always are, and too generous to the world. And after this message, he bombarded me with this 40 messages, and after offering €100 per hour for email support, I never heard back from him. As usual, is it a surprise to any one of you? But tell me, was €100 for accumulated email support, was it unreasonable for an X-ray machine for SunOS and Solaris? Am I a sellout, a capitalist, a whatever, or whatever? He probably thought I'm a student at school and I'm happy to fly for free to Croatia and work for free and for an apple and a free flight for seeing Croatia or something. Let me just, here's so many photos, and let me, what is here? Problems workstations, here videos, where was this flying in? So many photos in between. I need install application configuration, no system works. And now I get the call of usual. Where was it? If necessary, here. Just that I now get the call. Can I? This is also the iPhone stuff. You get a call and can't really silence here how you want to silence it. It's stuff appears, it's reappearing. The amazing iPhone usability that you can't get this notification fully away. So you can't even. That people don't realize that I'm in a live stream, for God's sake. Does not everyone watch video? I'm in a live stream on, I can't speak right now. We are live on YouTube. I call back. In the meantime, really everyone should be, so now I navigated to the message, and due to this excessive calling here live on YouTube, by the way, hope I didn't share my call here on screen. Hey, 19 people. As soon as I get a call, everyone is, there is no, damn it, how can modern application navigation be so complicated? Where is even the chat stuff here? Can't be so complicated. I've navigated to all of it, and then this, where is even, damn, how can navigation on modern app be such a cluster? Fuck. Calls, photos, damn it, where is this direct message nonsense here? What a fail. Why can't I find this bloody... Here's chats. Oh, wait a second, this is WhatsApp. I'm in the wrong app. So much to... Oh, damn, now this bloody app scrolled to the end again. Here too, I hope nobody calls me again. That would be the calling privacy leaking. By the way, I hope... can we share it like this? I hope this might be visible. If necessary, you pay them to come to Kosovo. You pay them. What? I'm going to the topic I want to ask. I brought what? If necessary, you pay them to come to Kosovo. What do you mean them? Anyway, yeah, whatever. Don't want to look through all those messages again. So let's see what is new in the chat. So much wasted time for trying to find these messages. What was the question? Solaris accent. So what did I miss here? Oh, it's back. Oh, it's back. Yeah, sorry for the... yes, it was. So yeah, OBS crashed. By the way, do we have a backtrace here? Eventually I need to figure out why OBS is sometimes... Hey, we have a core dump. Is this core dump from... It is from OBS. So gdb user bin OBS core. and we don't have debug symbols, I guess, but we what? We have a backtrace of QSystem try. I can watch show message. Hello, can OBS maybe try stops? It crashes. Trying to show message in the system tray. I have no words for this. My God. Anyway, so yeah, this is why our OBS crashes. You know, the amazing system tray notification you all have been waiting for. But else if there's no way to less, therefore nobody took it serious. Yeah, but you might be right, but on the other way, from my experience, nobody wanted to usually pay so much anyway. So and this, you see, the private person or something from one was private, the other from Singapore also said too much he can pay. But yeah, by the way, you don't need to worry, I don't disclose our commercial software development rates, so not that you worry that we do not do professional software development rate for too cheap here. My biggest point was the recurring theme is, if you followed the whole stream, and if not, you might want to rewind to the beginning and rewatch all the points. I have 20 years of experience, and of course, even in the beginning, I was a student. Even then, I didn't charge that much because as a student, I had to get at least something. And even then, the low student rates barely someone wanted to pay, with a few exceptions. And that is the price. Sometimes make it too cheap. It may be not the best idea. Yeah. So the fun is. So the good thing is with our, thanks God, our. No, actually, I don't usually thank God. Let's thanks to our hard work and the constellation, by the way, that was, and the constellation of the stars in the universe. Not to give God here no credit where no credit is due. Thanks God, our commercial software, although the buttons look slightly funny in Firefox, but whatever, could care less. Thanks to our commercial recurring software sales, I can afford to make this open source experiments and answer randomly and see what sticks, and unfortunately nothing sticked. It is extremely hard. And also, by the way, as I mentioned in previous videos, we tried because we founded exact code for commercial embedded Linux work in 2005 or something, so over 10 years. So our amazing, or my amazing company already exists over 10 years and still in business, as amazing as it is. And only due to our, and by the way, we wanted to make, from the very beginning, our 99% focus was Linux, embedded Linux, and open source software. Where did we end up? We very quickly ended up because sales were next to zero. And even after my magazines and my student work, as here and there, a random project back and forth and this and that. And even after this experience, doing it commercially on a full-time, each day in and out basis, except Archivista and some other stuff here and there, it was next to impossible. Whatever we tried cheap, we tried expensive, we tried everything. We were speaking with car manufacturers for this car and entertainment system stuff. We had their amazing ideas already. As you can imagine, 2005 stuff was LCD displays. Stuff was really crappy in 2005 in cars. And we even talked with Sony and Nokia and stuff because Linux phones and stuff. As I mentioned in the previous phone, the people from Sony, some of the people who spoke the most with us were from Sony actually. Funny enough and amazingly enough, in around 2005 or so. And as I mentioned in another stream already, you see I'm not making this stuff up. I'm reiterating the same points. For example, as I said previously, the people from Sony, they ended up wanting to make an own startup. So we thought we speak with Sony, and actually we spoke with those mid-tier managers from Sony, which actually only spoke with us because they wanted to make their own smartphone startup thing, which is of course not something we wanted. We had our startup, we wanted to make business and not another startup. And yeah, fun stuff that happens. And this is also my other point. I forgot to mention. The other point is also with all this commercial negotiation, you see even these emails, you reply there, you earn nothing. You read emails, you answer emails, you earn nothing. And that is the same negotiating with commercial projects. Hell, have we negotiated and talked. We talked so much when we spent our whole month talking with people, and at the end, we had no project and income. Also, this commercial embedded projects, The world is a huge world, obviously, and we are not the only ones not now and not in 2005, we were not the only ones doing embedded Linux. So you are even constantly competing when you are making an offer to Volkswagen or Mercedes or BMW, not to make here paid advertisement, but obviously just with the German companies around us that we could call and speak with and such. You are competing with other open source people. So, of course, we know that some of this project we were talking about, other open source people won, usually because they offered much less. And by the way, we already offered little because we wanted to get in business. We already offered a good price. And other people, desperate as they were in 2005, offered even less, obviously, because work reasons. And yeah, just to give you an overview. And also, this is, by the way, some things, as I said, we are usually, unless I have a bad day and I'm fighting with Vodafone and I'm in a bad mood, usually we answer very nicely and fair and stuff, and even support people with old licenses and even with old stuff. Also, of course, we usually drop in a sentence like, hey, do you not want to buy a super cheap upgrade for around half of the price after 7 years? And by the way, sometimes people, even after 7 years, usually the chance is 50-50 that with this commercial software of ours, after 7 years, it is still working so good enough, because we are not as evil as other companies. Probably other companies make it intentionally so that it doesn't work on the latest macOS version or something. But because we are not evil, our software usually, depending on the circumstances with API changes and stuff, but to some degree, you can be lucky that our software from 7 years ago works in the latest version of macOS, unless some USB changes and stuff. And then people want support. They ask us questions, they expect answers after 7 years, and if you tell them nicely, hello, you used the software 7 years successfully, and don't you think after 7 years you could support our ongoing development, research and support with 50% of upgrade after 7 years, chances are less than 50% that they actually go for it. And this is really sad. And so what is going on here in the chat? Those prices people are used to. Danny, I think for a job like this it's perfect normal. I think for a job like this it is perfect. You should write what you mean with it, because if you just write it, then I don't know what you mean with it. What is normal? The price is normal, not responding is normal. Negotiating half of the month is normal. What is your opinion on the new RISC-V? I think it is too expensive, unfortunately. I like to pay, if you mean this, was it 800 euro or something? I would pay like reasonably, maybe like half of the price. I think maybe 300 would be reasonable. But of course the price, I understand this is the first prototype batch run, but I cannot, I spent so much already for previous prototypes and other stuff and hardware and such. I cannot each company and such give. And by the way, in my opinion, they are quite some probably well-founded startup stuff or something. They could, like I said, support at least people working on cross-compile stuff and testing and fixing patches, at least not overcharge the initial run like this, or make an open source developer price for, because 600-700, but we can also look this up, not to quote here random stuff. This is RISC, this is what was the name? Yeah, whatever this is. Yeah, damn, no, I mistyped this even. Also, what do I even type here? I think I talk too much. Where is this even open source ecosystem? Where is even the where was it, on crowdfunding, or by the way, somehow is this, here it is, a little bit of random googling. Was it this one or the other? Is the price still here, or is the price not? There was something, revision something. Unleashed, this was probably this one, right? Unleashed was the new one, and that is, yeah, 999. This was even more than I remembered. 999 is too much for this board. Sorry, I have to say, maybe for industry partners like BMW and Volkswagen and Tesla or something, but not for normal people like us. And let's see what, yeah, okay, okay, I proved the source names. Oh yeah, right, sorry, and I might have mistyped it slightly, but then he writes, he talked about X-ray repair rates here in chat, yeah. Yeah, but even then, even for this email support 100, this was completely cheap, even for Croatia and whatever. But again, thanks God, I'm not relying on this kind of support. It would not have even been fun. It would have even be stressful to try to decipher their installation issues from screenshots, and then, you know, the screenshots might be blurry and stuff, and then they might not show information you need, and you don't know what they pressed and have done, and would have not even been nice support there with this X-ray machine. This is only, I gave you this random examples to have here some real world examples, and not that we talk here theoretical bullshit that didn't happen, because don't want people calling me out here for making stuff up. This is not what we do. Could have also changed the camera view again. What else do we have going on? Maybe I should end this live stream because it probably was too long already. By the way, not sure if 1 hour 30 is the total live stream, but because OBS, but okay, 1 hour 30 is probably the total live stream length. I hope YouTube might really have been able to concatenate this. Yeah, also hydration today, not branded stuff, but real orange juice because health. And we want to cut back on our coffee consumption. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this live stream and learned something. And if you have comments in the chat, as I mentioned, I do this YouTube stuff to have here a new means, because I figured, and by the way, this is also coming back to this, but anyway, if you want to leave to work or your TV shows and or your local hackering and soldering and tinkering, but I mean, by all means do it. Otherwise, we can still talk some other 10 minutes. But if you leave, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. And I hope to see you soon again. And to finish this, I wanted to also say that this kind of work, for example, if I want to do low-level research, let's say my microkernel idea that we will come back later, or if we think, for example, a decade ago I already thought, okay, this XORG stuff is too indirect with the network protocol and everything, and maybe a more amazing graphic subsystem would be more amazing, right? Who would finance me for this kind of low-level basic research? Maybe Google, Amazon and stuff. Okay, maybe not Amazon, maybe back in the day Google or something, maybe even, I don't know, actually don't have too many examples for this, but, or you work on a university, but then not everyone can get a job in a new university. Maybe you have not even studied and are a do-it-yourself self-learner. And by the way, some of the best people I met are not university degree people, but self-educated people and stuff. So, and even if you are from a university, even if you have a PhD there, maybe you simply don't get a job there. Not everyone can get a job at a research facility in a university. So if you want to do this kind of research that I want to, because let's be honest, why do I do these YouTube videos? Of course, after 15, for example, scanner drivers. I do scanner drivers for 20 years, since 1997. For over 20 years do I do scanner drivers. Of course, not every day, but every other day, or at least every other week or something. I have reverse engineered over 400 variations of scanner protocol variations, USB and SCSI and network protocols. And I'm also slightly getting a little bit tired of 20 years of reverse engineering scanner protocols. Maybe also want to do something else again, like writing a microkernel, for example. And yes, my commercial, if we would commercially do at Exact, if we would, and there's the next problem. When we do, let's assume we stop our work on other commercial stuff. We see, okay, our ground vision, let's say we do an amazing microkernel because we believe in the idea and we will do something amazing. Or if you say microkernel is shit, it's slow piece of shit, don't even try this, don't bother wasting your time with this time wasting, CPU cycle wasting microkernel shit, don't stop irritating us with this nonsense. Let's say AI, artificial intelligence. Let's say we stop everything we do and do artificial intelligence. Pick either of those examples, I don't care. This is base research stuff, and that you cannot immediately sell. And with both of those things, you need to develop, either if you do a microkernel or if you do artificial intelligence, you need to spend a lot of human resources, a lot of development resources to develop this stuff to work. It's complex stuff, either of those. And you spend people, development, years of getting this stuff to do something. And if you do this open source, you open source it, everyone can use it, and then you are in exactly the situation that I showed you. It works for some people, they use it, they don't pay. Those people who have an issue, they tell you, you know what, I have an issue, you can solve it because I can't use your free open source stuff, but hey, maybe you want to fix this issue for free, obviously, because it's open source, right, and it's free. And stuff like this. And selling this to companies, obviously, all this base technology. Even IBM, I heard, has the challenge to sell their Watson AI to companies, and I even heard from some insurances in some news reports that this IBM Watson might not work as amazingly as they showed in their Jeopardy demonstration stuff. And then just looked on the comments there. So if you do any kind of basic research or this window manager, like if you have something like Wayland, by the way, this Wayland is also developed for a decade and not getting off the grounds really, or something, so I heard. Whatever you do, you still have the problem, either it is open source, so first you have the problem, you need to sell it in general. You need to sell it to someone. Either the microkernel for a car navigation system or a space rocket or whatever, or whatever you make up, or the artificial intelligence for whatever you want to sell your artificial intelligence. You still need to do all the human resources of salespeople of selling the stuff to someone, otherwise you don't earn anything anyway. And the next, what was next, even graphics. So if you do an amazing graphics subsystem, you need to sell it to someone. Can you sell this to Red Hat and SUSE? No, of course, Red Hat and SUSE and stuff, or Debian. Obviously you can't really sell something to Debian, but Ubuntu or whatever. Obviously all of those open source companies will tell you, you know what, we only do open source, probably for the most part. Maybe Red Hat would buy you for some million if you're lucky to open source it or something. But otherwise you are in the same situation again. You need to sell your graphic stuff to maybe navigation, entertainment systems of cars, of digital signage stuff for trade shows, for banks, for window shopping, for whatever you need digital signage for. And any other example we can make up is usually the same. And this is the real crux with open source. And unfortunately, I was probably blinded by the spirit of making the world a better place. This is probably what, for at least 50% of the reason we got into open source 20 years ago, 1998-ish, to contribute to a common goal of making the world a better place. And by the way, one thing I wanted to mention now that we get into the super long stream, some of the stuff maybe I need to make a summary point list here before the live stream, but you know, a little bit busy and overworked and relaxing here at the end of the workday. My other point was the people who are rich by open source are not the open source developers. The people who got rich from this stuff are people who used it for free, like Google. Google got rich, Amazon got rich, IBM is using it, got rich. Now even Microsoft is using it, getting rich. Apple even used KHTML from, maybe my audience knows this, but if you are a new subscriber here and new to Linux and open source, maybe it will be a shocker for you to learn that Apple's WebKit, this HTML rendering engine, was based on open source work in KDE, the K-Desktop environment, Conqueror browser. They have forked KHTML and renamed it to WebKit and based their Safari browser a decade ago on macOS and now all the iPhone stuff and things like this. And so did all the KHTML developers get rich and are millionaires? No. Maybe they are lucky and have a job at Apple. Maybe 1 or 2 or 3 of them, maybe. I don't know. But so whatever you do kernel, you don't get rich. You do a desktop environment, you don't get rich. You don't even earn a living. You make an HTML rendering engine, you get nothing. So the one who is getting rich is Apple and Google, and obviously Google twice because they use Linux for their Android and they use KHTML WebKit for the web browser and Linux on their servers. And these are also thoughts that I wanted to spread. I had this already for quite some months, if not years, in the back of my mind, but obviously I had to do some unboxing and vintage videos first to make some evening after work talk on a Friday. But I hope you like how this channel is going, and yes, we will also get back to packing, unboxing stuff and reviewing stuff, but every now and then, and right now I'm overworked and don't have time to unpack stuff, so then let's just talk a little bit of the stuff I wanted to share and influence here. And let's be honest, most open source people don't get rich. Most open source people don't even have enough income of the open source work to pay their rent, or the electricity, or a new laptop, or anything else for that matter. And yeah, probably the stream gets too long. Maybe I should say one thing that leads to another hour of discussion. Danny writes, what Redcan micro channel Indiegogo. So the problem is, and why I'm really thankful for not only all the subscribers, and I hope you share, like, and subscribe, and all the Patreons for all the monthly donations. The problem is, if I collect, so first of all, the microkernel will be hundreds, thousands of euro, then I don't think many people will invest into this. And then even if we hypothetically collect 200,000, which probably would be more than the maximum, I don't think we would gather this. For 200,000 you can't even honestly develop a whole microkernel stuff in a year or two of manpower, human power development hours here. And even then, the problem is then delivering the promise can be really for in 1 year or time. This is why I'm more going with this fun stuff of education, of writing drivers left and right, and over a year or 2 or 3 gather here in the educational YouTube section some AdSense donations, and I don't have any obligations of collecting 200,000 euro and later hear complaints that after 2 years it's not working, like, you know, GNU Herd or other stuff that is never getting finished and not working and not delivering on the performance promise and stuff. So right now, as long as ExactScan and OCR-Kit are selling, and by the way, this is also, you can support us by recommending our amazing document scan software stuff and PDF. By the way, did you know we have a PDF recompression stuff that can make PDF smaller? You can also support us by recommending our software. You don't even need to buy this. It is enough if you spread the word and recommend this in your company or wherever. And as long as our software is selling, I guess YouTube, AdSense and Patreon growth is enough to do here more fun stuff. I hope you like and enjoy this. And I have actually honestly extremely many ideas, probably too many. This is only scratching the surface. I hope you got this impression for this. I have plenty of other ideas similar to this and completely different. I'm still debating if I should try again to found a second company with venture capital style of Google richness. Also, maybe not really sure if but the problem is also, do I want to have such a stressful venture capital? The problem is also experience, not really the venture capital background, so not really sure how to make safe that some bankers and venture capital people don't rip me off, that I really come out of this with some millions of profit, and rather enjoy life and collect here my daily commercial software sales and make here relaxed YouTube videos. This is a big question, and maybe I close with what I probably should make a dedicated video about, but is still matching to this topic here, is this base income stuff, whatever that is in English. Also, we had in Germany this Grundeinkommen. In German that is Grundeinkommen, base income. What is this? Let me Google this. Base income or basic income, I guess. Is this called not basic income or something, where this new concept that hier bedingungsloses Grundeinkommen is here at least basic income grant. And so to close this quickly in 5 to 10 minutes, and then we really stop because Friday evening and other stuff and live and long live stream. So when this idea came up, you probably heard about this. I hope if not, then you can Google the details. The summary is that the idea is that everyone gets some basic income in some state, like say if Germany or the United States, but good luck, the United States, unless they vote Sender for president or so, but who knows. So whichever state, doesn't matter. So if some state would decide there is some basic income for everyone, they would get this no matter if they have even if they have a well-paid job, they would get basic income. And initially, when this came up in Germany some 2 or 3 years or something ago, I don't know, some couple of years, initially naturally I thought this is a bad idea. I thought, okay, people who don't want to work, they don't work and they just cash in, and the people who work, they need to work more. But the more with the whole open source situation, the more I thought about this with each passing day, the more I liked the idea. And I agree with those people who say, first of all, I find this good in so many ways. First of all, I like to keep things stupid and simple. In Germany, we have relative good social support. So if you have unemployment support, you have social support and stuff. I think in Germany, probably one of the more outstanding companies, together with Denmark and Sweden and whatnot, I guess, and similar countries. Not just some random name calling here, no sorting in any whatsoever order. But considering that everyone can get unemployed for whatsoever reasons, be it company goes bankrupt, for your self-employment is not going successful, or you just have bad luck or whatsoever, or it changes, like internet is taking away your job because you were in the paper printing industry or whatsoever the reasons. Maybe there are plenty of valid reasons why someone may become unemployed. And also people get support, students get support, low income students get support. And I like the idea to simplify stuff. And for me, I like if instead of unemployment support and student support and stuff, and all the other different ways of social support that exist in Germany and other civilized countries like this, why not? And with many of this is a lot of paperwork. So if for a lot of this kind of things you need to have a lot of paperwork, proof and hard copy, and going from one government organization to the other, and hand out paper and fill out paper and wait and this and that, and of course all of this is a nightmare. It's a huge waste of resources and all of those time. Of course the people, instead of wasting so much time with the paperwork, of course they could also do something like study, go to school, write applications or open a business whatsoever. So much better stuff you could do with the time you spend filling out government paperwork. So already from the simplification, that instead of all the 10 or 20 different programs of social support, just basic income for everyone, I think some people calculated that if you stop all of the social support programs in Germany and just make basic income, because the conservatives always say, this is too expensive, we cannot afford this, who should finance this, and so on, we don't have money for this. But I think I read in newspaper articles, some people calculated that if everyone gets basic income, that would just the same money that is currently spent on this with all the unemployment, social support and whatsoever. And I also find this more fair. The people who on top of this open a business, be this a coffee, a hairdresser, a party service, an IT company, they earn more. The people, so of course with basic income you can sit at home and do nothing and have a nice life. Yes, you can do this, watch TV the whole day, yes, no problem. But those people who do something, which probably are 99% of the people in the world, I guess, who want to do something interesting or earn more, they just do it. And everyone who is doing something, be it opening a coffee or whatsoever, earns more money. And this solves the problem, as many people cited also for this, like this open source stuff. If you do open source, you get basic income. If this is what you like, you can write the Linux kernel or a new kernel or some browser or whatsoever, and maybe someone pays you additionally, and that is amazing. But if nobody pays you because everyone to the support email answers, oh sorry, you want money, or this is not what I expected from open source, then at least you have basic income. Especially if one month you get some donations and another month you don't get any donations. So from this point of view, I think this is not a bad idea, and this does not even only apply to open source, it also applies to musicians. You are a musician and you want to play guitar or piano or whatsoever and tour the world. You can do this, and in the beginning you have basic salary, basic income, and later maybe you are famous, or maybe not, or doesn't matter, or maybe you don't want to be famous and you want to play guitar each day on the beach. You can do this, no problem. And maybe it also solves that some companies like Google and Apple and Amazon get rich with open source, and the others have not much unless they collect some donation somewhere. But as I said, this topic of basic income is of course a huge one and a controversial one, and let's flame war in the comments. Leave your comments below what you like and dislike if you think this is a good idea. Basic income makes rich get richer and poorer poorer. I don't really agree, I know this argument, but as I said, if you're already poor because you do open source, at least you get something. So and also, by the way, in my opinion, for example, the scandals like Amazon has now an own delivery service in the United States and in Germany and maybe other countries. So in some countries, Amazon has their own Amazon logistics delivery service, and they are paying a shit salary, like at the border of legal minimal salary, a minimal wage or something. And in many states, they, as far as I heard, allegedly, according to newspaper articles, they even violate minimal wage because they do not pay the time they load the vehicle and drive the vehicle home or to the depot and stuff, and or they pay 8 hours, and if it takes 10 hours to deliver all the parcels, then they still only pay 8 hours, and all these shady tricks and such. And with this kind of basic salary, people, this is why I think, and I know the argument, I recently had this discussion with the manager here in Germany, and he also argued it will make richer and poorer poorer. I don't agree with this. In my opinion, I expect this balances. Of course, this will not change everything, but in my opinion, this is a balance into the right direction. And people right now, if you do not get a better or good job, and the only job you get for whatsoever reasons, and again there might be many, the only job you get is Amazon Logistics delivering parcels for minimum wage or below minimum, allegedly calculated for the real time spent on the job, allegedly even below minimum wage. With a basic salary, you can say, you know what, Amazon, fuck you, I don't deliver parcels for below minimum wage, having not being the time paid, loading the vehicle, and if I at the end of the day am not done with it and I need to make extra hours, not being paid because somehow you think, your computer think, your algorithm thinks it is possible to deliver the parcels and it is not. So then the people can say, you know what, Amazon, fuck off, you can deliver your parcels yourself, because for this minimum or below minimum wage, I don't do this shit job. And I think this is, so this way, Amazon, to get people still do this job, which I think is a hard job and not obviously not the most outstanding job, then companies like Amazon would need to pay a fair salary for people to actually do it. And this would also improve the service, most likely. As you see, most of the people don't ring the doorbell here, most likely because they don't have the time, because they are being paid below minimum wage, because they don't get extra hours paid, and they can't ring at each door because usually they stand there and nobody opens, and I understand this, and so on. So yeah, and so as I said, initially I was skeptical and did not agree with this, but the more I thought also with open source and arts and stuff, all the goods, and students and whatsoever, that yeah, maybe this inspires someone, maybe not, maybe that's a good idea, maybe it's a bad idea. Leave it in the comments below what you think about this. In any case, it would be amazing if you give this video and live stream a thumbs up, and subscribe and join for one of the next videos and live streams. As long as we have chats, I could also answer some, because you pay with Google AdSense views, and I much appreciate this, which is more than most open source support. People want to pay us. Let's see, what did I miss? Capitalist world and stuff, and I'm right now unemployed. I work, that is set to here, worked for a big retailer, but it did not work out as it should. That, sorry to hear that. They ask too much from me, million jobs at once. Basic income makes good idea. Look again at 21 and 2030. I have to go and eat something, but by the way, fuck Amazon. I see you guys, girls. Yeah, Toxicco, see you. Thanks for being here. And someone else will do it's a problem. Yeah, but Gregor, what if everyone gets basic income, then most likely each of them will ask for a reasonable price. And if someone else is doing it, at least you still get your basic income and can write a Linux kernel or make an art project or whatever you like to do, or open or work, do whatever. And maybe also, for example, if someone, and by the way, I know many people, they are very clever people, but they have, for example, they have some hobby, maybe some parcel delivery guy from Amazon, maybe he has a second job as a musician and he is only doing, and he is playing guitar or piano at the weekend, and only because that is not enough, he is in the week delivering parcels and stuff like this. It is of course a fact that many people have 2 jobs or even more, unfortunately. And if someone's real passion is in music and he's only doing this shit job for below minimum wage to pay the rent, then this basic income is still more outstanding for him, because then the rest of the day the rest of the week, instead of delivering Amazon or other low paid, allegedly parcels, he can improve his musical skills, write new songs, or put more efforts into getting more jobs, or develop whatsoever music business and such. Just some example, of course, this works with everyone, even if you are a gardener or whatsoever. Could be other reasonable examples. We got used to stuff for free. If everyone gets basic income, who will pay for it if everyone gets basic income? So the point is, for example, if I would get basic income, would I stop with what I would doing? No, I would actually do more. For example, I would do more open source and make the world a better place, and maybe even put more editing efforts instead of quick editing my YouTube videos. Of course I know my AAA pre-edited videos are not the most outstanding because I have no more time. I do this after work, in lunch breaks, or when a customer, seriously, when a customer pisses me too much off and writes me 5 ugly emails or whatsoever, or some international project of ours, and someone becomes too stupid with me, you know what I do? Now I have the freedom to know, you know what? I close my email, I go over here and record a video. And why can I do this? Only because not only our software sells enough for me to do this, also I have growing AdSense revenue of $3 a day. And if I would want to produce more outstanding YouTube videos with basic income, I would not have to fulfill my weird customers' email response needs, and could spend more efforts to produce more outstanding IT video content, which right now I can only not do because this earns me only $3 a day. So would I stop my work? No, I would put more work into what I'm passionate about, do more basic research, do more microkernel, do more. And by the way, if I would have got basic income, I would most likely not have written this commercial software, and instead I would have done the last 10 years Linux, and maybe the Linux desktop landscape would be even more amazing, especially with all the other 10,000, if not 100,000 more open source people contributing also to this topic. And then we would have already the year of desktop Linux a long time ago, and not in 2020 or 21. What is now going on? So, but this is probably, as I said, I like this. It is like German rent, the same idea. What I got now? Let me check the comments. What if I missed? It's who will pay for it? What? So you mean? Sorry, I misunderstood. Who will pay for the basic income? Yeah, but the companies. All the companies will not close, and like I said, I will continue to work, as all the other people will continue to work, because from the basic income, it is basic income. You can probably not go to an amazing holiday, or you can't go to an amazing holiday every year, and you cannot buy nice lemonade each day and such. You have like water and bread and stuff and basic income. So if you want a more luxurious life, you do some work, and also many people like to do some work, be it creative stuff, code stuff, or music stuff, or hairdressing stuff, or makeup stuff, or designing dresses, or designing cars, or manufacturing cars, or whatsoever. And even jobs that you do not like to do, like cleaning toilets and delivering Amazon parcels, at least they have to pay a better salary because everyone gets basic income. And if the people still want someone to clean the toilets, at least they need to pay someone a reasonable price for this and not below minimal wage. So what is now, but it's rescuing for, but it still be resources for paying this basic income need to be allocated somehow. Yeah, as I said, as far as I saw some people calculated the current support divided by basic income would already pay for it. And even if it needs some increases, probably better to pay people for basic income than for war and tanks and warfare. Danny, I have a diploma in photography, but as I'm a curious person, I am a music producer as well. My hobbies become tinkering Linux computers, radio amateur and satellite feed hunter. I can't stop learning. That sounds amazing. And you see is, and beside, I think some countries like some oil companies there, like Saudi Arab or someone, pay all the native people good money anyway. And I heard all these native people don't need to work from all the oil income. And the next problem is the more automation, and you see this with selling out all the companies to the highest bidding investor. People are losing jobs because good factories are closed because they are moved somewhere else where someone paid for it, like China or India or wherever. Not to point fingers, just some examples. And if people lose some job because their manufacturer is moving to China, then at least building something new is still better than nothing. And I agree the topic is too complex, and this is why I said I should probably stop now and not open this topic. And if I open this topic better, probably for another live stream. But as I said, and Gregor, as I said, 3 years ago when this topic came up, I thought as business owner and manager and stuff and open source developer, I thought it's a bad idea. I had the same arguments, but I know this frustration. I have 20 years frustration of not really getting much paid for open source work. How should I improve this situation? And given that there, you see, many of the projects we lost to other open source people bidding less when we already made a below market rate offer and we still didn't get it. So how should all the people doing amazing open source work earn a living? And the situation is certainly not getting better, especially with all the race to the bottom. And by the way, one other tip, but by the way, this stream is as usual getting too long. But probably I shouldn't give the last tip and wait for the next live stream. So somehow had to be allocated resources to support, someone had to allocate resources to support your open source development. Simple perspective, that others decide to keep it. But so the point is, with this open source stuff, companies are using this and companies are earning good money and they pay tax. I mean, at least they should pay tax. Not that a lot of companies pay tax, but theoretically they should pay tax if they do not calculate everything away to some tax haven island somewhere. And from these taxes, of course, should be like financing for schools and streets and infrastructure and stuff. Also financing this basic infrastructure like people working on open source and stuff. And I mean, the funny thing is, like in Europe with this Article 13, which I probably also should make a dedicated video about before it is too late, that then these old-fashioned companies, this dying paper printing news companies, they go bankrupt or mostly or lose their sales. I mean, those who are not yet bankrupt. And then these old-fashioned companies with their lobbyism press completely stupid laws into the union and the countries, and they destroy the internet with their trying to cash in money for complete nonsense instead of, and by the way, I have nothing against them earning money, just make a proper easy subscription model for the website. If you do not make this completely hard to use, that people like Apple now wants to offer them a flat rate for news, and let's be honest, of course people will rather buy the Apple flat rate because it's super easy to use, and not the newspapers directly because the websites are just pure ugly cluster F-check. And not to swear so much. So if they would make more outstanding websites, they would for sure probably also make more money. But anyway, it is not the responsibility of some dying industry to destroy the internet for the rest of us, only because their last straw to try to save their business, their dying old-fashioned business, just because they did not manage to transform their business into the digital landscape. And yeah, we are not 1% club, so kicking our head, we are only cattle and sheep for them. Yeah, something like this, but again, my impression is, I know the other manager also didn't agree with me, like Gregor there, that this basic income will only make this wider, but let's, as a last word, and then I really close this live stream for 2 hours. I nearly need to get home and everything, and long live stream and such. As a last word, as a last thought, and by the way, you see, I also changed my mind. When this topic came up, I was opposing it, and then the more I was thinking about this, especially in my open source context, the more I liked it. And the more I thought about this, the more I thought the benefits outweighed the negatives. And one last thought experiment. If you make one thought experiment, and probably we all agree that there was this financial crisis and all the, not even to mention all the different financial crises and all the tax evasion scams, even with illegal financial transactions of huge, allegedly illegal and whatsoever. You get the idea, you probably followed the newspapers. So we had huge market value destroyed in the Americas and successively in Europe and the rest of the world. Besides, we have here some countries in the European Union which were not financially doing the most amazing, like Ireland, and then Greece and maybe Italy, and now the Brexit and whatsoever. Not to get into this topic, but we probably can agree that there were a lot of challenges, a lot of market capitalization destroyed, virtually destroyed, and a lot of jobs lost. And just to summarize this is not the thought experiment, so I guess we can probably agree on this, and that the situation for most people, the situation became harder and not better. I guess probably most people can agree as a broad generalization. And now comes the thought experiment. And by the way, I heard that there are new fears. I read in the newspaper, in the dying newspaper, I read allegedly there is fear of a new housing crisis 2.0 or something. At least allegedly, I heard according to newspapers. So now the thought experiment. Be with me. So thought experiment. So we probably can agree with this, especially in the USA. And now when you continue this development, if you agree this is the situation, and it will only develop further like this, and it will become worse. So with each year, salaries with decreasing or inflation adjusted decreasing salaries, it will become harder to pay for the living, and more people will lose a job due to automation, and the richer becoming richer and the poorer become poorer, also because of course the richer use their influence, their lobbyism, and the absurd amounts of billions of dollars they have in the bank accounts, and they can shuffle around in the world and maximize and multiply, and not even don't pay tax on this because they hide it so on some allegedly hide it on some tax havens, not to even pay taxes on the multiplying billions. So this is the thought experiment. If you agree with the situation, it will only become worse. What is the conclusion? If in 100 years, if we continue this trend, and in 100 years the average salary will be inflation adjusted even lower, we have more unemployed people because of the sheer free-run capitalism and maximization of the 1% becoming 0.5% and the 99% become 99.5%, and the richer are richer and the poor are poor. What would you rather have, basic income or nothing? In this scenario, as thought experiment, over dramatizing this, I would rather have basic income and the money and the wealth that is there in fair taxes paying for this, and people, and by the way, maybe if people have a basic income and they open a business, be it performer, musician, makeup studio, you don't need to be a computer scientist to open your business when you look out for all the small business and stuff. If you rather take the basic income and develop yourself, either you read stuff and either basic income is enough and you enjoy life, or you build a new business and earn much more money with something amazing, I would rather take 100,000 of small businesses doing amazing stuff, be it computer science or music or whatever in between, then the richer become richer and the poorer become poor. I think this is probably a good summary and thought experiments for all of you. And with this, it is time to finally end the live stream. Thanks God OBS did not, oh no, we did not want it. Let's not use this old-fashioned stupid phrases here. No God to thank with this here. Thanks the developers of OBS for not crashing again here. And let's see what we look at nomenclature. What did I miss? And then we really stop. So capitalism. Imagine the head not fixed it. Look at human nature. Big companies do not pay tax, so why should us pay? And by the way, this is basic income. And we should just enforce tax on everyone. And not that like the EU is doing a little bit, maybe not, maybe a little bit facade, more or less whatsoever. And I rather have all the big companies pay their fair share, which of course in previous times they have done more than, especially in countries like Germany. Not to look in the USA, maybe not, but of course in the USA officially they have decreased the income tax enormously with all the last decades, more and more. And we should rather have companies pay the fair share and finance all the infrastructure and basic income than not, and then the rich would also not be the richest 1% as they are today. And we digressed a little bit, and we probably should have made a dedicated live stream of this, and I hope not everyone is unsubscribing now after our income sorts philosophical experiments here. I hope you enjoyed it anyway, and share, like and subscribe, and come back for the next video and live stream. I don't have, actually the most, at least initially, all the rich and conservative people were also against basic income, and I don't know why that so many rich people are against this. 100 years global warming will be a bigger issue than income. And yes, I agree that most likely in 100 years global warming will be a bigger issue. And by the way, with basic income, environmentalists who want to work on this at least have a basic income to think and make amazing inventions. Imagine if people like Nikola Tesla or Albert Einstein had basic income, what more, I mean, they already did amazing things, but maybe they would have done even more, and maybe there would be more Nikola Teslas and Albert Einsteins and people like this and Edison and who not, whatever, who invented what, and allegedly or not allegedly or whatever. All your ideas are great. No, all you need is to implement them globally. Yes, maybe I need to run as Chancellor of Germany another day, another live stream. Maybe if you collect enough people to vote for me, I can think about this. But the problem is, of course, if nobody is listening to me and I only have 31% behind me, then all the naysayers will destroy it. By the way, look on the Brexit, 2 years of negotiating, and after 2 years of negotiating, you still don't know what you want. Amazing politicians, and by the way, in my opinion, no matter what you think of Brexit, if you are pro, of course, I don't have so much to say about this, neither being British nor being in Britain, and I don't want to comment whether to be pro or against Brexit. But one thing is, of course, really stupid. If you already negotiate, if you vote for something, if you want to implement something and then negotiate something, probably everyone will agree with me that this is, of course, completely stupid, and these politicians failed their job. In my opinion, no matter if you are pro or against Brexit, these politicians have to be fired. They failed miserably in their management skills, in their job. Each normal manager would be fired, would be jobless. and we should much more often fire incompetent politicians. No matter if you want Brexit or don't want Brexit, at least fire this on incompetent politicians all over the place, from the States to Britain to America and wherever, because this is sheer incompetence, and it is really sad that those politicians are paid with a basic income, a good basic income for the politicians for pure incompetence, and not for the artists and open source people who at least achieved something in this 2 years' time. Einstein is an idiot, should know that what Stein means. You need to change thinking on global scale, you need to change. Want to pay taxes because you need to be, otherwise it will not work. All these are. At least we have some comments going on, and most people left with our philosophical, maybe partially political discussions. I hope I at least inspired people to think and probably to vote. Usually want to vote. At least vote for what you want, even if you don't like most of this, vote what you want. Otherwise, just sitting and not voting is your voice completely wasted. Explain them, they do not need all the stuff we have, good luck with that. Sure, who will replace them? At least, but if you mean replace incompetent politicians, if you replace incompetent politicians, at least your chance is 50-50 that the replacement is less incompetent. If the next replacement is as incompetent, fire him again. Danny, welcome, joining. We want to. You will not be able to monetize this one. What do you mean? I will not be able to monetize this video because not sure. Let's see. What do I even show you? By the way, maybe I should show you something more shameless self-promoting. And with that it is really time to end the live stream. And boy, do I have work left for the weekend. Why am I so overworked? Oh, wait a second. Maybe this is because I need to work half of the time to finance half of the time open source work. Maybe this is why I'm so overworked. And maybe because I do, as the latest development, even do YouTube videos. The good thing is we have not live streamed some copyrighted music, so the chances that we are able to monetize is already 50-50, and most of my videos are monetized. Let's see what we right now have here for monetization. I think so. And by the way, the funny thing is usually when something was, I think, but we talk mostly, the good thing is this Google stuff is really stupid. Maybe I should make another video so I can make so many videos and we can talk. I still need to find here the right balance. The thing is I had no time to produce a pre-edited AAA outstanding unboxing video. This is why I at least wanted to live stream my open source thoughts that I kept already in the back of my mind. I still need to find the right balance here of live streaming and not live streaming and pre-recorded videos. But as I said, with live streaming I can just position the camera and click on the live streaming button. With pre-recording I need to pre-record, edit and stuff. And the good thing is usually, by the way, so usually my stuff is monetized with, I mean, hey, we earn $3 a day. By the way, I could theoretically show you this again, not that you don't believe me. Not yet getting millionaire here. Usually not too much stuff to hide here. And also these live streams are not helping so much. My pre-recorded videos were usually running, my pre-recorded videos were slightly running better. I was usually more like 3,000 estimated views. And we are a little bit down, and by the way, not making this up, but first let's click on revenue, because I have nothing to hide. Even pay, by the way, we pay taxes, so just that you know your advertisements go straight to the EXA code revenue and are fully taxed in Germany, so we are not tax evading this. This is EXA codes AdSense revenue, fully taxed here, so nothing to hide, no taxes lost. Your basic income is assured here with $69 a month, but this includes this $7.50 transactions of your amazing donations. So without donations, we are we are at a solid $60 plus these transactions, which are, by the way, also amazing. Thank you for that, much appreciated. So I'm not making this shit up. This is really what we are earning here, and when we click on 90 days, you see that this is slightly down, at least as far as I remember. So one quarter, $218. That is not even $1 obviously, per month. As you can guess, this is just paying for internet, as we bumped our amazing broadband here anyway. So I guess the trend here, 7 days average, is probably pointing slightly downwards because Christmas was more amazing. No, this estimate is mostly correct. Only sometimes they have data hiccups, so the difference is only lost in currency conversions and lost data points, because when you click here on, you know, with all the cloud service and 10,000 servers, this is just not as accurate. This is more or less what we are getting paid on mostly only lost data points and lost in currency conversions. You know, because we're getting paid a month later in euro, and this is dollar, and then the euro is something else, and this kind of stuff. So yeah, the last year, $782 basic income of your YouTube views, much appreciated. Keep it coming and going, and don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to motivate even more, to spend even more time on talking here live and stuff. I'm paying, what is 13564? I don't understand. You need based on it. Yeah, and by the way, this includes $14.50 of your transactional donations, which are amazingly even more appreciated. You guys rock. All of you recurring viewers. So as I said, I'm not making this stuff up. This comes down to some $3 a day, and this, by the way, is only more because here was Christmas without Christmas. And you see this is up and down because last summer I've not made so much videos. So if I had continued to make more videos, this would also be more up. But as you have seen, last summer was not as busy, so the summer is a little bit down, I guess. And what I wanted to show you is that all of my videos are monetized. Some videos I had to trick a little bit. I had to some videos. No, most views, the commercial new. I'm not getting paid for this stuff, right? So the only best thing is to get this laptop for free for 2 or 3 weeks. I have no other benefit of this, which is of course not the most amazing benefit. I'm not getting paid for. I did not get paid for any of those videos, neither from Lenovo nor Dell, nor Samsung or whatsoever. This was only curious stuff I was looking at. Most views, I showed this already. You see this, by the way, yourself. You can click on the most viewed video stuff here, and the most viewed is the latest commercial release stuff, because probably people Google for it and are interested in reviews. So if I want to be a sellout, I should only do unboxing of new stuff. That would get the most views. You see 40,000 views of the old Lenovo T470S stuff. Final review, disassembly, so the ThinkPad is going the best. Then more IdeaPad. And then the Dell, you see the Dell already significantly less, obviously not yet as popular, not yet the greatest channel, but the SGA Octane is running steadily, so the Octane catched up here a little bit. And also surprisingly, this rare ultra portable Sony Vaio P here is catching up a little bit, surprisingly. And also, by the way, fun fact, this video here, I hope it's visible, I should more often check, maybe I need to put here a third display to better see what's going on. This video that is running quite okay, upgrading the Mac Pro with an NVMe SSD, was only a test. I'm not using this in production. I was only curious to see if this works. So this is a complete, you see a just random video that I did not need this. I only thought it's maybe interesting, of some old Mac stuff, only random stuff. And I did not expect this video to, at least, and by the way, I made this video when I had I made this video when I had 200 subscribers a year ago, or over a year ago, 1.5 years ago. So, but yeah, 16,000 views, not the most amazing, but we are getting there. And all of your guys' views are amazing. By the way, I think I'm also making, by the way, when I probably will stop soon referencing to this $3 a day. I only mention, it's getting already on my nerves and boring for myself. And each time I say it, I said it's probably sounding a little bit like I'm only making this for this money. No, I make this for the entertaining and 20% fun project here and building an audience and stuff. Obviously not needing this $3 a day and only want to build the audience. And this $3 a day we only collect for investing into stuff like a keyboard and a camera and another camera and an HDMI cable and a frame grabber and stuff like this. And of course we are hoping to get a bigger audience eventually. And and by the way, the €3 I only started to mention because I really hated from the big YouTubers, oh, the apocalypse and whatsoever. You know what? This is bullshit. This is not apocalypse. Damn it! You probably get what I want to say. I probably tried to stop trying to pronounce this word. Apocalypse. Anyway. This is not this. This is Christmas and Easter, and this is, you know, some people. I also wonder, this huge and famous YouTubers, do they even have? I mean, no, I should not say it like this. It's so negative. I mean, some maybe not the most intelligent, or they just want to cry a little bit, because you know what? It's Christmas and Easter and holiday, and it's naturally fluctuating. Because guess what? The companies spend different amount of monies, and also some of this is also that you're not making so amazing videos. Of course, I know some of these videos of myself are of course not the most amazing because I'm not the greatest and most amazing YouTube channel and I simply have no time. And by the way, the stream is getting too long. I should have spent my time differently, but whatever. And yes, of course I could edit this more amazingly, but then I would spend the whole day on one video, and right now I can only afford 2 hours on a video. This means 1 hour filming and 1 hour editing. And this means of course the video is not as amazing as if I would sit there 1 hour and film more and edit more and position the camera more amazingly and hire a camera assistant or an editor or spend more time editing or spend time making graphic illustrations for IT stuff and making there some bit illustrations of some bit fields and some graphics and stuff. Of course that would make the video more amazing, but right now for $3 a day, excuse me, I only spend 2 hours on a video. And by the way, many videos I do are significantly more than 2 hours. Some videos are even 4 or 5 hours, so realistically I only spend obviously for building the audience and not for $3 a day. And the other thing I wanted to say is that that with this apocalypse is that, but I said it already a little bit. Honestly, even from huge YouTubers, not all of their videos are amazing, and this is not the algorithm. And by the way, I see this also with my own videos. I have 2,800 subscribers, which by the way are real and not fake and not purchased, as you probably see from some people watching it. And the audience growing and stuff. By the way, let's see, nobody unsubscribed. Yay, our long political live stream and nobody unsubscribed. Amazing achievement unlocked, at least I hope so. Let's click on this. By the way, obviously with all the cloud surveys, all of these views always naturally deliver another count because, by the way, you see 64 will not get any hashes because it's so slow, it will not hash anything. Anyway, your web page is loading slow because 500 Mbit is not enough for the modern internet, or what? Yeah, so this lists 287. So the problem is some of those numbers are more up to date than others and stuff. You get the cloud server stuff like this. And so it's not apocalypse or apocalypse or apocalypse, whatever. It is just that they make better and worse videos. And I see this, you see this in my videos. Some videos are watched more, obviously people are more interested in unboxing and ThinkPad than talking about making money of open source. And more people are interested in getting more stuff running on a PS3. Just I don't want to spend each day on the PS3 because I don't like the RSX crashing on me. And then I also like to do more productive stuff that can be useful for everyone, for a microkernel or vintage stuff, and also influence the world here in the mindset of maybe paying for open source. And by the way, before you spend your hard-earned money on an expensive Starbucks coffee, maybe it is a better thing to buy normal coffee and donate the difference to your favorite open source developer. Just a thought. And because this is why I intentionally make fun out of this YouTube people crying for our $3 a day or apocalypse, and also for stuff like this, and also influencer, because I intentionally, we are not yet a sellout, and you probably will notice when we will become a sellout, which hopefully we will not, but influencer can also be a good thing, and spreading the word that maybe you want to finance open source work more than financing overpriced coffee beans with some expensive label. With this, it is probably time to really end this live stream. You probably have seen more than enough details that you even wanted to see, and our current state of apocalypse. Damn it, is it difficult to pronounce. Anyway, before I have you more tongue squizzling English, fake English terms to pronounce, it is probably better to release you into your weekend or day or night. And you see the live streams are also not the very most amazingly running here. And the point was, with 2,800 subscribers, you see it is not the algorithm, it is the people who decide. 2,800 people may or may not get the notification, and they decide T2 Linux stuff is not interesting, I don't watch it. Do-it-yourself Apple keyboard is not interesting, I don't watch it. It's not the algorithm, it is also people that just don't want to see the shit. And this is the same for big YouTubers. If they have seen the 100th video of them flying in business class and showing them how $10,000 or $20,000 business class flights looks like, and jumping through the streets, then maybe after a year or two it's just getting too boring and they just don't want to see it. It's not the algorithm. So beside, I think the algorithm anyway just shows you similar videos of what you've seen already and not some amazing AI to start with. So yeah, thanks for joining, thanks for watching, thanks for sharing, liking and subscribing. I hope you learned something, you got some inspiration for your jobs or not jobs, or what you want to do or not to do, and you can think about what you want to support or not support. And I end this live stream now and call it a day. And we also need to work on not crashing OBS after we already made it great with VA API hardware accelerated acceleration encoding stuff here. Somehow I'm sure you will know the answer to this. Assume you to use Wireshark in Windows to sniff a USB water cooler. Assume you use Wireshark in Windows to sniff USB water cooler? You mean a water cooler as in CPU cooler, and write a Linux driver according to the finding. How big are chances to get it into the kernel? Well, I think the chances are big. You mean reverse engineering, copyright infringement, intellectual property infringement wise? I guess most of the drivers are written like this. And I would say low, you can use lib, USB and air. This, by the way, Ash, I wanted to say, this kind of drivers, coming back to our microkernel topic, and by the way, my scanner drivers, insane, like all the other scanner drivers, are run in user space. So they are using libUSB to do bulk USB transactions and stuff, so most likely you don't need to get it into the kernel, and in my opinion this kind of stuff is also better not in the kernel. It's easier to maintain, easier to package, easier to everything, easier to keep stable and not crash. And yeah, so in general, in my opinion, this reverse engineering stuff is very light. Anyway, if you, of course, the saying is clean room. Of course, you could do it completely if your stuff is intellectual property wise. If you want to do it completely clean room, then you do the reverse engineering. You write a protocol that is a clean room stuff with a wall in between. So you do the reverse engineering or whatever, and write a protocol description, and then you only share this protocol. This is usually the clean room approach, proved by most people as being the most proper. In my opinion, that is usually not that much needed, but in case of Ask Your Lawyer. And then you hand this document to another one behind a wall, behind closed doors, who you don't speak and whatsoever with for any side note tips and other stuff. And the second person writes this driver from this protocol to avoid any kind of reverse engineering infringement claim stuff usually. And yeah, this is this clean room stuff, how you usually would want to do this if you want to do this the most clean. But in my opinion, in my experience, most stuff in the open source world is not developed like this. Most people don't care about this and just reverse engineer and do it, but your mileage may vary in the case of Ask Your Lawyer, which I am not. And the question is also if others will sue you. Probably not. The question is also, as long as nobody is suing someone, then there is not a problem anyway. I'm usually a fan of not suing each other. Huge success with that, by the way. Huge life lesson: don't start suing each other for no good reason. Usually makes everything only worse and more expensive. No good outcome for that in any case. And yeah, with this, although we still have comments, which is amazing after 2 hours live stream, but this is now finally the end of this one. And as you know, we will have our weekly news bits of the week live stream this weekend, either tomorrow or Sunday evening. You probably want to make sure to share, like, and subscribe to join into this one and other reoccurring pre-edited video production. As usual, leave in the comments below what you like and dislike, what you like to see or not. But usually I do what I feel to in my after work and lunch break filming here anyway. The V is the 700 megahertz. It will know much 5V can make, linking together not many hashes. This is old PowerPC stuff, by the way. Someone not from us, but someone external was running V on T2 on the Wii even a decade ago. You find a video on YouTube. Wasn't us. By the way, I'm always thinking, should I buy a V from eBay just for this? But then I usually think I have already enough stuff, enough PowerPC stuff, not really worth it. But if someone wants to donate me some old stuff, they can always do. By the way, why is this not coming up here? Whatever. Earlier there was a YouTube video. Yeah, you see, we Linux T2. This is not us, someone else. Nothing to do with it, but it was working. Obviously, just PowerPC with a custom kernel. You name it. Would be a fun YouTube project. If not, someone else would have done it, but we could re-record it even more outstanding. And yeah, with this, again, amazing that still some people are watching here after the super long live stream. Much appreciated. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed it. And it is time to end this. And I hope to see you soon for tuning in on one of the next ones. Until then, have a good night, day, or whatever it is in your part of the world, Moon or Mars, or wherever you are tuning in and listening. Or the ISS maybe one day, who knows. I wonder, by the way, if some system on the ISS is running T2, you never know. Would be fun stuff. But with this, I now press the stop button and hope to see you soon, very soon.